Hi, and welcome to this video. We're going to be talking about, well, if you're a parent, a very exciting topic. How can you go to college for free? You heard me right. How you go to college for free. You're going to want to stay tuned and listen to all of this one next. All right, parents, going to college for free. Ideal for your kid, right? Well, several things we want to make sure we cover to really explain this whole process. And one, it's not all about academics. Two, the earlier you start planning, the better. And then you want to think in terms of stacking scholarships, finding the right schools, planning your schools strategically, very important. And of course, your child's mindset is going to be crucial in this whole thing. I'm going to discuss all of those things and more in this video. All right, parents, I'm going to break the first myth right down. And I'm fortunate to have gotten to know somebody who is an expert in this field. And she's done TED Talks and all. She and I have collaborated on some projects. And it is a total myth that your academics need to be stellar in order to get the scholarships necessary to pay for college, because that's really what we're talking about if you're going to go to college for free, right? Is you're going to get scholarships and grants. And when the average student is coming out of college with $37,000 in debt, well, listen, my oldest son has over $100,000. That $37,000 is actually, that's a gift, because when you look at the median tuition for colleges at like $30,000 a year. Wow. Anyways, to get to the point, there are over $100 million worth of scholarships that go unclaimed every year, and $2 billion in college grants that go unclaimed every year. And it's not all about academics, folks. All right. That amount of money is out there and available. And we're going to talk about how to get it. So one of the important things is probably when you're in middle school, that's right, middle school, is to start thinking ahead. Now, we aren't talking about, deciding which college you want to go to, what you want to major in. No, that's ridiculous. Way too early to do that. But to start thinking about what you need to do to position yourself to not only get into college, but to win scholarships and grants and things. So when you start early and you start doing some of your research and you start trying to figure out what your passions are and your interests are for your child, and trying to maybe get them at those early ages to try some other things, to experiment with other things and activities, so they might find a passion that can really help them find these scholarships. So starting early and staying organized and documenting what you're doing, getting your child and you as a parent to keeping track of journaling and the records and things you've learned, your life experiences, keeping any sort of pictures and data and papers and newspaper articles and things that you've done and had gotten publicity on, anything. Start keeping those scrapbooks up. You start early with that. I can't emphasize that enough. It's not too early when you're in 7th or 8th grade to begin thinking about that. All right, the other thing as a parent you want to begin thinking about is this idea of getting a full ride on one scholarship. It's unlikely. What you really want to do is find as many scholarships as you can, right? You get 10 $5,000 scholarships, that's $50,000. $50,000, that's going to cover your full tuition at a lot of schools, right? So you want to stack them. You want to find as many as you can. My family gives away, we have a charitable, and we give a $5,000 grant to a student every year. All right. So you find grants like ours, that's 10 of those, that's 50 grand. right? So you stack these. You want to look for all the opportunities, as many as you can. I'll tell you right now that my colleague, the friend I mentioned earlier, Denise Thomas, her children came out of college with money in their pocket by combining scholarships and grant money. Grants often go to the student, not the school. All right? It's not always the case, but like in our case, in the money we give away, it's a grant. It goes directly to the student in a cash check to use how they need to use it for school, for whatever that might be, books, supplies, whatever it is. Those sort of grants are available. So her children came out, I think they earned combined $199,000. And between the two of them, their 4 years of college was about $140,000. I don't remember the exact numbers. All right, so I could be off on that. But they came out of college with money in their pocket. Another thing you want to really do research-wise is start looking at schools, and maybe you check out their endowment and private aid, because there are schools out there that have money for particular grant purposes that your child might be a perfect fit for, and they can be pretty significant. And if that, let's say, is a grant for $10,000, and you've got some other scholarships, now all of a sudden this school might raise up a little because you just got another extra $10,000 or $15,000 you're eligible from private grants or private funding through that school and their endowments, that somebody's like, oh, I'm going to give it to anybody who plays the flute and is really good at blah, 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 right? Whatever it is. So flute and GPA of this, and this is what we're going to support because this person made a lot of money and they loved the flute. All right. Now, I'm not being totally facetious in that. There are grants like that, like kind of obscure kind of things that if you do your research, all of a sudden you go, oh, this school, now all of a sudden it looked good, but now it looks really good because of this private funding opportunity. So, and that requires some research, knowing where to look. And I'll tell you a little secret now, with modern day AI, that research is becoming a lot easier. So what really needs to happen is you as a parent and your child, your mindsets need to kind of shift on what's possible, those beliefs around it, and your roles and what you're looking for, and turn this into an academic endeavor for your child, right? The whole idea of researching and doing research, and maybe even turning that into a paper or some other information that you can then gain from that and learn from that. That's exactly what my colleague's done. She has developed all the research to put into a training program, and her clients get scholarships. And like 30% of her clients come out of college debt-free with money in their pocket, right? That's pretty significant. And how was she able to do that? By research and cataloging it and going, oh, I can teach this to other people, right? So you guys want to shift your mindset onto what's possible. And that mindset impacts everything. It impacts how you're going to present yourself, how you're able to persevere, how you're able to think outside the box, and all those things that are going to go into finding and then winning those scholarships and those grants. Well, we come to end of another video, important video. Hope you take this information and really run with it, because it's when you run with this that the real value will come in. Important stuff. Love doing this video. As always, I encourage you to subscribe. Check out our other videos. In particular, you might be interested in the video, how to get into college with a GED. So check that video out today, and I'll see you in another one.